First Unitarian Church, where our mission is to explore the eternal, nurture community, and pursue the common good. We welcome our friends, new and old, who are watching us on YouTube this morning. Everybody turn and wave to the camera. Please introduce yourself in the comments and let us know where you are from. In order to keep you informed about the First Unitarian Church, there are cards in the back of the sanctuary where you can share contact information for our email newsletter. Larry is showing us, and they're right there. And if you're online, you can find a similar form under newcomers on the website, oneuc.org. Before I forget, silence your cell phones. The following words of welcome are from Kathy Ryan Starr. Welcome to this place of peace. May we find moments of quiet contemplation. Welcome to this place of celebration. May our hearts soar with gratitude for the gift of life. Welcome to this place of sacred love. May we gently hold all that is broken here. Welcome to this place of inquiry. Here may we be challenged to open our minds and hearts ever wider. Come into this place of community. May we together draw the circle of love and justice ever wider. Welcome to this sacred place. Come, let us worship, celebrate, grieve, and love together. The prelude now prepares us for worship. Sandra Flansburgh will be lighting our chalice today. We light our chalice in Midtown, Oklahoma City, on land that was home to first Americans, land of the Apache, Caddo, Wichita, land that was taken from the Muskogee and Seminole and other removed and relocated peoples. We light the chalice as a symbol of our sacred time together. The burning chalice represents the light of reason and science, the warmth of loving community, the cleansing heat of justice, and the flame of hope. I do want to say one thing. I just decided. Jacob has agreed to work on our pulpit, work from our pulpit, and this is the last of our summer series. Next week, Reverend Kent Doss will begin his service, although he's already been here. But Jacob is now burning the chalice at both ends, so please give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing today? I hope we're doing well. I'm happy to see you all here today. I'm Jakob Bailey, he, him. I'm 29 years old. I'm wearing a white t-shirt with like this like beachy kind of like overshirt over it. And I have some tattoos on my arms, and I've got like wavy brown hair, and I'm, for the visually impaired, I am the most attractive person you will ever have seen. And for those who can see, do not tell them, okay? The world today is bleak. There are so many reasons for us to be upset, for us to be angry, for us to feel ashamed, for us to doubt ourselves. But in this moment, whether you're here in person or watching online, we are together in this sacred space to explore the eternal, to nurture community, and to pursue the common good. Our lovely flowers on our altar today, brought by my radiant worship associate, Susan Scott, are from the Curbside Chronicle. In a few moments, I'm going to ask you all to breathe with me. We're all going to breathe in for about 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and then release over 5 seconds. As you breathe out, if you're able, let go of the things that are keeping you from being present here today. I promise you can pick them back up on your way out, okay? All right, breathe in with me. Hold. I know it's tough. Breathe out. All right, thank you. Release the tension from your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Here you are safe. Let us take this time to exist together, free of judgment, free of fear, free of shame. Here you are empowered. Let us take this time to remind ourselves of the strength that we possess, the lessons we've learned from our pasts, the courage of those who came before us, and how we must be courageous as we shape the world for our next generations. Here you are among friends. Let us take this time to be thankful for the community around us and for the opportunity we have to make a difference. Here you are on beautiful, sacred land that provides for all of us. Let us take this time to worship together. At this time, I invite you all to stand up and greet the people around you. Say hi, say hello, how are you? Get introduced. And then after we are done with that, we will be singing out of the gray hymnal, hymn number 66.
Every Sunday, we take an offering. Since 2002, all the cash and designated checks from that offering have gone directly to external nonprofit organizations doing good work, our Change for Change partners. The Change for Change partner for August is Sooner Hope for Ukraine. Sooner Hope provides help for people who are under traumatic stress affected by the war in Ukraine, which has lasted more than 3 years. Sooner Hope's art therapy program helps young adults from Ukraine cope with daily trauma by providing art supplies and encouraging participation in exhibitions that share the stories behind the art. Sooner Hope will use the money to reach children or adults who are displaced by war, people who have lost their homes and loved ones. For those of you who are in the sanctuary with us today, our ushers will be passing the offering plate. If you are watching us online, please make your gift by sending a check to First Unitarian. Just write Change for Change on the memo line, or make an online payment through our website, oneuc.org. Ushers, please come forward. The offertory will now begin. The reading this morning is from This Book Will Make You Kinder by Henry James Garrett. So why are we kind? We are kind to the extent that we are because we possess the capacity for empathy. This is a simple answer, but it's an answer that explains how kindness feels on an emotional level, that doesn't repaint kindness as selfishness in disguise, and that doesn't set hard limits on our kindness, but instead points to the way to a dramatic expansion. Empathy is a superpower. Being empathetic is a bit like being telepathic, but rather than walking around overhearing people's internal dialogue, you automatically take on a shadow of their experiential state. We don't even need to control it. It just happens. It's probably not a sufficiently dramatic power to guarantee entry into the Avengers, but it's essential in the development of morality. Empathy is the ability we have to notice someone in pain and to feel some part of that pain. And it doesn't just work for pain, it works for joy, sadness, anger, pleasure, hunger, stress, and 100 other feelings that we might not even have words for. If you can feel it empathetically too. If you take one thing away from this reading, let it be this: we don't need gods, laws, or markets to be moral. People without gods in lawless society are still people with the capacity for empathy. Sharing in each other's pain, sorrow, and joy will always be enough to make people a bit more kind to one another. Automatically partaking in every feeling you encounter gives you some motivation to make sure that other people are doing okay and to fight to bring an end to their suffering. It's thanks to empathy that you care about experiences that are not your own, and that's why you are kind. Please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. This prayer is by Rebecca Savage. We gather together with sacred intention to declare that justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that it is possible. Not here, not quite yet. The seeds have been planted time and again. And we remember all those who went before us, who made beloved community a dream that could be realized. Justice is our prayer. May our time of worship give air and nourishment to the parts of our collective spirits that need to grow and thrive, that embrace equity as a known way of being. Justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that it is possible. May it be so.
Hello again. As many of you know, I am the incoming head of the Social Justice Council here within the church. I've been fortunate to work with Susan Bishop, who has been helping me get acclimated to the role, and as I've been getting more involved in this church, I've seen that this congregation is full of people who care about social change, about hard work, and about each other. It makes me happy to be a part of a community like this, especially because I grew up in a very different church and community. I want to tell you all a little bit about myself, but before I do, I want you all to know that the topics I'm going to discuss today are pretty complex, and I appreciate you all for your trust and for your support. As you hear me speak, know that I am here today after years of healing and growth, and I am at peace with my past. I'm okay, I promise. Okay. I grew up in a Christian military household with parents who cared deeply about me. And even if some actions or beliefs were misguided, they did their best with the knowledge and the experience that they had to raise me to be a person who cared for others, who could be self-sufficient, and who would do his best to improve himself and his community. I personally think that they did a great job, and I promise I'm not just saying that because they're watching me. Our household was stable and nurturing, and thanks to my parents, I was able to learn my music talents, and I graduated culinary school. On the other hand, I have ADHD, and I was diagnosed later in my life. I'm gay. I've always struggled with maintaining healthy boundaries, with not coming off to others as weird or childish, with fitting in with most people at my jobs, and a whole host of other social issues. I get easily overwhelmed and irritated if my palms are touched in certain ways, and I always buy shirts with the tags cut off, or I cut them off myself because I have sensory issues, can throw off my whole day, although as I've grown, I've learned ways to ground myself. I'm a survivor of sexual assault. I've lived with drug dealers out of financial necessity who would have strangers coming into our apartment at all hours of the day when my bedroom didn't have a lock on it. For the same reason, although I was able to escape this situation pretty quickly, I lived with animal abusers who would leave the apartment a stinking wreck. I even once had a guest in my apartment for an extended period of time who I only found out later in an ill-informed attempt at vigilantism had tortured and murdered an innocent man. I only found out later when he turned himself into the police. I was adopted at only 2 days old. I never knew my biological family until a year ago when I finally got the courage to look them up. I was able to find my biological mother's side of the family through her obituary, and as she had passed away in 2004, and I learned from her sister, my biological aunt, that from the evidence they have, the family believes that she was murdered by her boyfriend during a domestic dispute. But the boyfriend ran from the police when they attempted to question him. My biological father, on the other hand, divorced my mother shortly after I was born in 1995 and took my older half-brother from her. Just so you know, our mother was the parent we shared, not our father. I've never met either of them, and I currently have no way to find them. He had been stepping out of their marriage for a long time, and my half-sister, Jenny, who I also met for the first time last year thanks to a DNA test kit, was born just 6 months after I was. These stories and attributes paint a picture of my life, where I came from, the influences that violence, shame, drug usage, addiction, crime, fear, poverty, abuse, mental illness, and death have had on me either directly or through the lives of my family, friends, and community members. It can be difficult to listen to these stories, I know. Not everyone knows how to handle a response to these things. Do you ask questions? Do you advise them to seek therapy? Do you not want to listen to it, but you feel like you're obligated to because the other person is sharing something that feels profoundly personal? I know from experience that this uncertainty is not uniquely a reaction to my life experiences. I'm not the only person who has lived a life which, simply by recounting it, can drive away opportunities or potential friendships. And I know that several of you have experienced lives that were more difficult than mine by orders of magnitude. But nonetheless, it can be hard when others think the story of my life is better kept hidden, not fit for polite society. Many people are afraid of breaching social order, especially in an era where our actions can be recorded for posterity and published to an audience of millions. And to many people, simply asking questions or asserting your boundaries can feel like an assault against social etiquette. The topics being put up for debate in the public arena in America today don't help matters much either. Many of the topics that the American right wing likes to make issues out of are of a deeply personal nature to a lot of people. Your sexuality and what goes on behind closed doors, your gender, what bathrooms you're allowed to use, and the discussions you have with your child's doctor about what's medically necessary for them to feel safe and secure, your bodily autonomy, your reproductive health, discussions you have with your own doctor, your immigration status, and the fear that you might be taken from your family and tortured in a foreign country because you made the mistake of believing in the American dream. These topics can be uncomfortable to talk about, and the stress of these conversations, the responsibility for caring about these issues, is most often laid on the backs of those who are made the target of the hatred and vitriolic abuse perpetuated by them. Speaking strictly for myself, I don't mind questions. I don't mind speaking about my experiences because they're a part of who I am, and I'm proud of the lessons that I learned from those experiences. Others may not share my openness, and that's okay too. When approaching people dealing with difficult or traumatic experiences, I find that it's helpful to first confirm that the other person is safe, that they feel comfortable talking about these experiences, and then letting them lead the conversation with accepting silence and non-answers without pushing them to step outside of what they're comfortable discussing. Oftentimes, people just want to know you'll still be there after you learn more about them. It's so easy for unfair treatment to stir up anger, and it's so easy for that anger to become hatred. I'm not exempt from this. There was a long period of time when I absolutely hated Trump supporters. I had such a bitter anger towards them that I sincerely wished for an opportunity to be violent against them, to take out my rage on people I felt deserved it, because their actions led to a world where people I care about have to fear for their physical and mental safety. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, hate is not a weapon that can be aimed and fired. It's a double-edged sword that hurts its wielder just as it hurts those at whom it's swung. There's a great quote about this, that holding on to hatred is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And it's true. I've always been depressed, and I've had suicidal thoughts for like once a week for like as long as I can remember. But even with that, holding on to this anger and frustration I felt at not being able to save the people around me from our current political scene drove me deeper into depression. I couldn't stop thinking about it because I couldn't stop hating the situation, hating the people who I believed put us here, hating my own failure to be better. Nonetheless, being a part of this church has changed me in ways that I could not have foreseen. I'm 29 years old now, and over the past 2 months, I have not had a single suicidal thought. And what's more, I haven't felt any of the numbing emptiness that comes from depression. My medication also deserves recognition in helping me get here, right? But I've been on medication before without feeling the way I do now. For the first time in my adult life, I feel okay. It's weird, isn't it? To think that the world might be on the verge of a fascist takeover and desolation from climate change, and yet I'm feeling better now than I ever have, because I've been able to let go of the hatred that was suffocating my happiness. I truly believe that it's because of this church and the work I've been able to put in that I've finally been able to get rid of it, and for that, this church body will always have my thanks. I place a great deal of value on hard work, kindness, courage, empathy, equality, integrity, and patience. I believe in the utility of each of these values, and that it is from these values that true justice comes. I believe in the worthiness inherent in all people, that anyone can be an instrument for change, and that the strength of the human race comes from working together. We live in a world that scorns justice. We've seen people denied trials. There's a popular quote floating around the internet right now that goes, "If you're using undocumented people's tax records to find and kidnap them, it was never about them not paying taxes. If you're showing up at their place of employment, it was never about them not working. If you're showing up at courthouses, it was never about getting them to do it the right way. If you're kidnapping women and children, it was never about criminals. If you're not giving them due process, it was never about the Constitution. If you're spending billions of dollars to do it, it was never about the economy. And if you're doing all of this in the name of a 34-time convicted felon, it was never about following the law." It's a nice quote. We've seen trans people targeted for harassment and violence. Gender-affirming healthcare for trans youth has been banned in Oklahoma and several other states by legislators who have never been to medical school, much less ever seen a patient. We have several trans and gender-exploring youth in this church. If they see doctors in Oklahoma, these doctors will be forced by the law to treat them as if they are cisgender. When transgender youth are subjected to a community that doesn't accept them, according to a study provided by the Trevor Project, over 50% of them will consider suicide, and just over 20% of them will attempt it. Think of the people you know and love who are transgender. Think of how you would feel with them gone forever because someone in power decided that treating them with empathy wasn't worth it. It sucks. Dealing with the emotions that these situations bring up is confusing, gut-wrenching, rage-inducing, and can leave us feeling hollow, ignored, abandoned, and forgotten. It really, really sucks. What you have to remember is that the future is not set in stone. The world has never stayed the same for long. We won't be stuck like this forever. We can fight this. We can make changes. We can right the wrongs of an unjust society and make it better for everyone. I believe in us. I want a world where trans people are viewed on the outside the same way they feel on the inside. I want a world where everyone gets to choose what happens to their own bodies, even if it hurts them. I want a world where the arbitrary lines we draw between nations aren't treated as pens to keep people in, but as free-flowing and open to everyone. I want a world where we get a say in what happens in our daily lives, from government to the workplace. I want a world where it doesn't matter who you love as long as they're consenting adults. I want a world where your skin color doesn't dictate your lot in life. A world where every culture is respected. A world where we spend our money on medical care, not bombs, on roads, not guns, on homes, not oil subsidies, on the poor, not the wealthy. I believe we can get there. I don't believe that this is an impossible dream, but even if it is, what good does it do anyone to sit back and say nothing? Even here within this church, I've seen people treat trans identities with flippancy, treat the mentally ill with disdain, and other people generally with disrespect. This is not a condemnation. I'm not asking you all to walk on eggshells or to treat each other or treat other people like they're better than you are. I'm asking you, examine the way you treat other people. Do you still have a trans person in your contact list under their dead name? Do you tend to interrupt more when a woman is speaking rather than a man? Do you greet people and invite them into your spaces even when they have a tendency to put their foot in their mouth and act strangely? Do you ask the unhoused their names? If you haven't noticed, I have several tattoos. Across my back, surrounded by a vine covered in tiny flowers, I have a tattoo of a quote I like. If you're more fortunate than others, build a longer table instead of a taller fence. That's my philosophy. On my right arm, I have a shield with the colors of the trans flag. Around it, it says Trans Lives Matter and Protect Trans Kids. And across the middle is a ribbon that says Trans Rights or Human Rights. I'm not trans, but I know several people who are, and I want them to know that they're safe with me. You don't have to be someone important to make change. You don't have to make $200,000 a year or have a ton of time off to help other people. You don't need to be a genius or neurotypical to look inward and think about how the way you treat other people might make them feel. Justice is not a mindset. Kindness is not an attitude. Change is not instinctual. Righteousness is not genetic. These are actions which require effort, and even strenuous effort towards those ideals can still often fall short. You're going to fail. I've made more mistakes than I can count and worse than I care to admit. And I imagine that many of you have as well, but that does not mean you're broken. You're not incapable of helping others just because you're too young or old, or you don't know enough, or you're too busy, or you're tired, or you're angry, or you don't fit in. As long as you are human, there is someone out there who needs you. Something you can change for the better. And it all starts by looking at other people, seeing yourself in them, and thinking of how you would feel in their shoes. Empathy is justice in the making. We've just completed our first session of the UU Common Read for this year. It's not too late to join in, although we have more people than I thought we were going to have, which is nice. We have copies of the book available for purchase if you'd like to jump in, and we will be repeating the Common Read later in the year on Saturdays for those who can't attend on Sunday mornings. Among other things, Social Change Now discusses forming a healthy relationship with your activism, discovering your role in the social change ecosystem framework that the book outlines, and learning how to shift your role over time instead of getting burnt out and completely disconnected from your activism. You may not be the type to go yell at your representatives at a town hall or march down the street and protest. You may be more interested in building relationships, in organizing, in sharing stories, or any other number of ways that a person can be active towards social change. Whatever it is, whatever way you can contribute, someone needs you. You can step up and make a change. You don't have to wait for the right moment. You don't have to be a prodigy at debating. You have skills that you can use to keep the social justice movement alive. No matter how you choose to advance the causes you believe in, you can do something. No one has done anything so bad that there is no way for them to make a difference. No one is so useless they can't do something to help. No matter who you are, what your level of ability is, where you come from, how marginalized you are or aren't, or even how much political knowledge you have, you are wanted. You can make change happen. You can be the seed for justice right here, right now. Thank you. Our closing hymn is going to be number 348, Guide My Feet, in the gray hymnal.
We extinguish our chalice flame, but not the light of love and community, which burns in our hearts.
Just as a reminder to the Social Justice Council, before the final words, we have a meeting today at 12:30. This world doesn't only belong to you or me. It doesn't belong solely to the kind nor the wrathful. Earth belongs to everyone. And just as we have a right to exert our will on the world, so do those who would see us fail have a right to exert their own influence. We must be strong, or our values won't be listened to. We must be courageous, because the road will be tough. We must be empathetic, because true justice can only stem from a place of understanding. Remember that you are the only one who can control how you react to the world, and that regardless of your means, you can make a difference. Go in peace and be kind to yourselves.